Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something was wrong? Even though they were smiling, they said they were proud of you. They nodded, they clapped. But deep inside, something twisted in your chest like your soul whispered a warning you couldn't explain. There was no betrayal, no argument, no proof. Just a subtle hollowness in their applause, a stiffness in their hug. And for a while you ignored it. You told yourself you were overthinking, that you were just being paranoid. But that feeling didn't go away. It started small. A joke that stung more than it should have. A celebration where they didn't show up. A win of yours they instantly overshadowed with one of their own. And still you smiled. You kept them close. Because they were friends, family, people who were supposed to love you. But slowly over weeks, maybe months, the signs added up. The cold energy, the missed milestones, the way their words felt sweet but their body pulled away. You began to realize this wasn't support. This wasn't love. This was something darker hiding behind politeness and performance. In this video, we're going to expose it. These are the 8 hidden signs someone close to you might secretly resent you, and the truth might change how you read people forever. Let's begin. You're too sensitive. Relax, I was just joking. You need to learn how to take a joke. These are the phrases that echo in your mind after someone casually slices through your self-worth with a smile on their face. The room may be filled with laughter. Others might even join in. But you don't laugh. Not really. You force a smile, your stomach knots, your chest tightens, and deep inside, something shatters a little. Because what they said wasn't funny, it wasn't playful, it was personal, targeted, precise, and worst of all, intentional. What most people don't realize is that sarcasm isn't always humor. Sometimes it's hostility dressed in comedy, a weapon cloaked in wit. It's a socially acceptable mask that allows people to insult, belittle, and humiliate without accountability. Because once you react, once you stand up for yourself or show you're hurt, you're the problem. You're the one who can't take a joke. Suddenly, you become the emotional one, the overreactor, the buzzkill. And they get to hide behind the mask of just joking. But Carl Jung warned us long ago, the things that irritate us about others often point toward parts of ourselves we haven't faced. And for some people, that inner irritation isn't managed, it's projected. Instead of doing the hard work of self-awareness, they lash out sideways, subtly, manipulatively, and they use you as the target for their unresolved pain. You see, sarcasm becomes surgical when it's aimed at your wounds, your weight, your background, your past mistakes, your deepest insecurities. It's not random, it's strategic. They know where it hurts and they go there repeatedly. And each time you stay silent, each time you laugh along while dying inside, you teach them it's okay. You normalize the erosion of your dignity. You give them permission to continue. It's a slow psychological bleed. You don't notice it at first, but over time it compounds. You start shrinking. You become quieter around them. You second-guess your worth. You begin to ask yourself, am I too sensitive? Am I the problem? And that's the trap, because they want you to question yourself, not them. But here's the truth: sarcasm that consistently wounds you is not humor. It's contempt. And contempt is the most corrosive emotion in any relationship, friendship, family, romantic or otherwise. It erodes connection, it disrespects boundaries, and it signals that the person does not see you as equal, but as someone to be mocked, diminished, and dominated. Their laughter isn't lighthearted, it's layered. It's the camouflage, the manipulation, and you feel it. You know it. Because real humor uplifts. It brings people together. It makes even pain feel lighter. But this feels isolating, uncomfortable, sharp. When jokes consistently leave you feeling small, anxious, or ashamed, that's not comedy. That's cruelty. So if someone in your life keeps making you the punchline of their jokes, if their sarcasm always cuts too close to home, if you find yourself laughing in public but crying in private, pay attention. That's not friendship. That's psychological warfare. Because those who truly care about you will never weaponize your vulnerability. They won't joke about your wounds. They won't use humor to mask their resentment, and they won't laugh at your expense. You deserve to be surrounded by people who respect your dignity, not people who chip away at it one joke at a time. And the next time someone says, "I was just kidding," ask yourself this: Were they really kidding? Or were they just testing how much of your soul they can erode without consequences? Because sarcasm, when aimed like a dagger, is never just a joke. It's a warning, and it's time to start listening. Have you ever had someone in your life who just kept forgetting the things that mattered most to you? They missed your big moment again. They didn't show up for your job interview prep, didn't return your call the day before your performance, forgot to send the message they promised, the one that could have changed everything. But when you bring it up, they look at you with wide eyes and say, "I'm so sorry, it totally slipped my mind. You know I'd never hurt you." And maybe you believe them. At first, because it seems innocent, even human. People forget. Life gets busy, accidents happen, but then it happens again, and again, and again. Not once, not twice, but constantly. And not to everyone, just to you. And it's never something small. It's always the moment that matters. The opportunity that could have lifted you. The one time you needed them to follow through. That's not coincidence. That's not forgetfulness. That's not carelessness. That's sabotage. But it's not the loud, obvious kind of sabotage. It's not betrayal with broken glass or angry words. It's quiet, gentle, wrapped in soft excuses and fake concern. It's the knife in your back that comes with a hug. It's the "I just didn't want you to get hurt" right after they subtly steered you away from something you were meant to pursue. Carl Jung warned us people who feel inferior often won't rise to meet you. They'll try to lower you to stay comfortable. And this is exactly what subtle sabotage does. It keeps you small, not by force, but by erosion. They'll give you advice that sounds wise but leads to failure. They'll offer help and then accidentally forget the details. They'll plant just enough doubt to make you second-guess your instincts. And the worst part, they say they're doing it because they care. You tell them about a new opportunity and they say, "Just be careful. That sounds risky." You speak about a dream you've had for years and they respond, "Don't get your hopes up too high." You finally take a step forward and suddenly they go silent, or worse, become passive-aggressive. They don't celebrate your growth because your growth terrifies them. It reminds them that while you're moving forward, they're still stuck. That while you dared to dream, they stayed small. And now, instead of rising with you, they try to gently clip your wings under the illusion of love. But don't be fooled. Real support doesn't feel like silence. It doesn't show up as forgotten plans and bad advice. Real support challenges you to rise, not shrink. It helps you believe in your potential, even when you're scared. It shows up especially when it matters. So if someone consistently misses your moments, delays your progress, or gives you help that hurts, it's time to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because it's not doubt they need, it's distance. You don't owe anyone a front row seat to your life just because they smile at you. You don't need to keep shrinking just to make someone else feel tall. And you certainly don't have to carry the weight of their fear disguised as friendship. Subtle sabotage is real. It doesn't scream. It whispers. It apologizes. It plays innocent. But make no mistake, its damage runs deep. And if you don't start listening to that quiet discomfort in your soul, the one that tightens every time they forget again, you'll find yourself living a smaller life than you were meant for. Because some people don't want to lose you. They just want to keep you right where you are, as long as that means you never rise above them. And that is not care. That's control, wrapped in concern, delivered with a smile, and paid for with your potential. You share your good news with a full heart, a promotion you work for, a side project that finally took off, a small win that means the world to you. You're glowing excited, hoping deep down that the people who say they care about you will feel that glow with you. But then, it happens. You tell them and they pause. Not long, just a second. But in that second, something shifts. Then they speak not to celebrate you, but to pivot. "Oh yeah, guess what I just did?" And just like that, your moment is no longer yours, it becomes theirs. Your light dimmed, your voice redirected, your win overshadowed. You didn't ask for comparison, you didn't invite a competition, but silently they started one. This is the heartbreak of silent competition. It's not loud or aggressive. It doesn't look like envy at first glance. It looks like conversation. It looks like a friend who's just sharing back. But the truth is colder, sharper, and much more subtle. They don't clap for you. They calculate. They don't celebrate you. They compare themselves to you. And instead of cheering, they're secretly tallying points on an invisible scoreboard you never agreed to keep. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He wrote that the traits in others that trigger us often point to something unacknowledged in ourselves. So when someone sees your growth, your confidence, your happiness, it reminds them of what they've neglected in their own life. But instead of facing that pain, they project it. They turn your success into a threat. They can't admit that it hurts, so they mask it as indifference, sarcasm, or a counterachievement. Because what you've done with your life exposes what they haven't done with theirs. They'll act like they're proud, but their smile doesn't reach their eyes. They'll say, "That's amazing," but their tone will go flat. And when you walk away, you'll feel it, the emptiness, the distance, the subtle rejection dressed up as polite conversation. It's not that they want you to fail. No, that would be too obvious. What they want is to stay ahead of you. What they need is to feel like your rise doesn't threaten their standing, and what they fear is being left behind. This competition isn't about success, it's about identity. When someone ties their self-worth to being above you, any step you take forward feels like a loss to them, even if they say otherwise. That's why when you win, they have to shift the spotlight. That's why when you speak of joy, they counter with struggle or bigger news. That's why even in your happiest moments, you somehow feel alone. It's not just about ego. It's about survival, the kind that happens when someone believes love, attention, or respect is scarce. And if you have it, they believe it means they don't. But this belief is toxic. Because love isn't a competition, support isn't a race, and friendship is not a battleground. In real connection, your win is their win. In real love, your light adds to theirs, it doesn't take from it. So if someone consistently turns your joy into a game of one-upmanship, if your success triggers silence, deflection, or coldness, it's time to see it for what it is: not celebration, but resentment. Not support, but ego management. Not closeness, but fear in disguise. And here's the hardest truth: sometimes the people who clap the loudest are only clapping because they're afraid not to. Because if they don't perform support, you'll see through the mask. You deserve more than a silent rival in disguise. You deserve people who don't just hear your wins, they feel them. Because your life isn't a scoreboard, and you're not here to play a game you never signed up for. They say all the right things. "I'm proud of you. That's amazing. I'm really happy for you." But something doesn't land. Something doesn't feel real. Their words hit your ears but not your heart. Their compliments sound like they were written in a script delivered on cue but missing a soul. And as you stand there smiling back, a part of you quietly aches. Because deep inside, you know the smile they give you doesn't reach their eyes. That's what superficial kindness feels like: hollow, rehearsed, and unsettling. It's the kind of warmth that doesn't warm you. It's the kind of presence that feels more like absence. They're there, but only physically. Emotionally, spiritually, they're somewhere else. At first, you try to rationalize it. Maybe they're just tired. Maybe they're dealing with their own stuff. Maybe you're overthinking it. But then it happens again and again. They never seem to show up when it matters. They're silent when your heart is breaking and missing when your world is changing. When you're celebrating, they're nowhere to be found. When you're hurting, they offer vague texts and distant replies. But when they need something, suddenly they reappear, smiling, cordial, talking like nothing ever happened. And that's when you realize you've been cast in a performance. A relationship that looks healthy from the outside, but inside it's empty. A bond that's been drained of genuine care, but kept alive through polite phrases and routine interactions. It's friendship as form without the substance. Carl Jung called this ego dissociation, when someone becomes so emotionally cut off that they lose the ability to connect with real human experience. They mimic connection, they mirror kindness, but it's not rooted in empathy. It's robotic, it's shallow, and over time it chips away at your ability to trust your own feelings. Because how do you explain to others that someone is being fake when they're smiling at you? How do you describe the pain of being emotionally abandoned by someone who's still texting, "I'm here for you"? That's the trap of superficial kindness. It's hard to confront because it looks like care. But real care doesn't disappear during your storms. Real care doesn't check out during your joy. Real care doesn't feel like cold hands in a warm room. People who truly love you will show up not just with words, but with energy, presence, and consistency. They will stand beside you when it's inconvenient. They will celebrate you when it's not about them. They will feel with you, not just talk at you. Superficial kindness, on the other hand, is performance-based. It's driven by social obligation, ego, or fear of looking bad. It says I care, but acts like it doesn't want to be bothered. It shows up when it's easy and vanishes when it's hard. And the scariest part, you can go years thinking you're close with someone only to discover you were just playing a role in their curated image of connection. If you constantly feel unseen, emotionally starved, or subtly dismissed, even though someone keeps saying the right things, listen to your body. Listen to your gut. Because truth isn't always in what people say, it's in how they show up or don't. Love isn't a line of dialogue. It's a presence. It's a frequency you can feel even in silence. And when that's missing, no compliment in the world can replace it. So if someone's kindness always feels like an automatic reply, if their eyes are empty while their mouth says I'm happy for you, if their care disappears when your emotions get real, that's not connection, that's performance. And you deserve more than actors in your life. You deserve real presence, real love, real warmth, the kind that stays not just when it's easy, but when it's real. It always begins softly. I just want what's best for you. This is for your own good. You'll understand one day. At first it feels safe, even comforting. They speak with concern. They use a gentle voice. Their tone is protective, as if they're shielding you from harm. And for a while you believe them. You trust that their worry is love, that their hesitation is wisdom, that their doubt in you is simply caution. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, something begins to shift. Your shoulders tighten when you speak to them. Your voice loses volume when you share your dreams. Your fire dims when you express your goals. Because somehow every idea you bring forward they dismiss. Every risk you're willing to take they question. Every step toward independence they frame as dangerous, immature, or too much. What they call care is actually control, not the loud, aggressive kind, but the quiet, manipulative kind, the kind that wraps around you slowly like a vine until you can't breathe without asking for permission. You share an ambition, and they say, don't set yourself up for disappointment. You mention a boundary, and they reply, that's not very kind of you. You express joy, and they question your judgment. And worst of all, they're not always wrong. That's what makes it so dangerous, because sometimes their advice sounds smart, sometimes their logic makes sense, but their words don't lift you, they shrink you. They don't make you stronger, they make you second-guess your strength. Carl Jung once said, people will do anything no matter how absurd to avoid facing their own souls. People who can't regulate their own internal chaos often seek control outside of themselves. They don't know how to calm their own storms, so they try to manage yours. Not out of love, but out of fear. And that fear wears a mask called protection. They don't believe in your vision, not because it's wrong, but because your growth threatens the fragile structure of their control. Your independence is terrifying. Your confidence is confronting. Your ability to move forward without them feels like abandonment, so they condition you to need them. Slowly, strategically, you start asking for their opinion before making choices. You hesitate to act unless they approve. You begin to equate their comfort with your own safety. And this is how emotional dependence is created, not by force, but by influence. Not by domination, but by disguised concern. You're not in a relationship, you're in a psychological cage with velvet bars. True care gives you wings. It supports your flight even if you fall. But false care clips those wings and tells you it's to protect you from the sky. It isn't love. It's fear in disguise. Fear of losing relevance. Fear of being left behind. Fear of no longer being the center of your decisions. If someone's concern consistently makes you feel smaller, weaker, or more dependent, it's time to ask yourself, are they protecting you or protecting their control over you? Because real love doesn't say do it my way or fail. Real love says, even if you fall, I'm still here. It trusts your evolution. It celebrates your courage. It empowers your growth even when it means letting go. You don't need approval to follow your truth. You don't need permission to rise. And the moment you stop confusing control for care is the moment you start remembering how powerful you've always been. Because the person who truly loves you won't fear your freedom. They'll stand beside it. And anyone who tries to keep you small under the illusion of safety was never trying to love you. They were trying to keep you. You walk into the room and something feels off. No one says it out loud, but you feel it in the air like a temperature drop only your soul can detect. The energy shifts. The conversations pause for just a second too long. Smiles fade at the edges. People glance at you, then glance away, avoiding eye contact just long enough to make your stomach turn. You can't prove anything. No one said anything directly. And yet deep down you know something's been said. Something about you. This is the silent violence of gossip. It doesn't scream. It whispers behind closed doors. It's a coward's attack launched not with fists, but with twisted words and half-truths. And perhaps the most painful part isn't what they said, it's who said it. Because it's often not a stranger. It's not someone far from your life. It's someone close. Someone you trusted. Someone who smiled at you yesterday and told you they loved you. Gossip is the betrayal you never hear directly but always feel. It is a subtle form of emotional violence that poisons your image without giving you a chance to defend yourself. They won't challenge your actions face to face. They'll attack your character in the shadows. They'll twist your intentions, question your motives, create stories where you're the villain, and then smile in your face like nothing happened. And the damage they cause is not just social, it's psychological. You start to wonder if you're imagining things. You start to doubt your own intuition. You begin to question if your presence is truly unwanted, if maybe you did do something wrong. And this is exactly why gossip is so dangerous, because it doesn't just harm your reputation, it corrodes your inner peace. Carl Jung once said, "The brighter your light, the darker your shadow becomes in the eyes of others." And that's the core of it. Sometimes people don't hate you because of what you've done wrong. They resent you for what you represent: growth, confidence, clarity, purpose. You reflect back to them everything they've denied in themselves. And that reflection is too much to bear. So instead of working on themselves, they try to dim your light through whispers, because your presence exposes their absence. Your peace unsettles their chaos, and your strength is a reminder of the parts of themselves they've long abandoned. So they turn to manipulation in the form of conversation. They plant seeds of doubt in others. They shift how people see you without ever confronting you directly. They hide behind politeness while weaponizing silence. They shake your hand with one hand and twist the knife with the other. And yet when you confront them, if you ever do, they'll deny everything. You're being dramatic. It was just a joke. I never said that. And so the damage continues, untraceable, unspoken, but deeply felt. You are left in a fog of confusion, trying to reconcile the kindness to your face with the harm done behind your back. But here's the truth. Gossip reveals far more about the speaker than the subject. People who are grounded in themselves don't need to tear others down. People who are at peace don't poison others to feel powerful. And people who truly care about you will speak with you, not about you. So the next time the air shifts when you enter the room, the next time your name feels like it was just in someone's mouth, the next time you feel that subtle sting of being talked about, trust it. You're not paranoid, you're perceptive, and you don't need to confront them. You don't need to fight back. You don't need to lower yourself to their level. Just remember this: while they gossip in the dark, your silence becomes your power. Your calm presence, your unshakable focus, your refusal to engage, that is the loudest echo of class. And no matter how loud their whispers get, the truth always vibrates louder in the hearts of those who see clearly. Let them talk. You've got better things to do. There's a strange kind of silence that hurts more than words ever could, the kind that follows your success when the people who once stood beside you during your darkest moments suddenly fall quiet. When you were broken, they were there. When you were struggling, they listened. When you were down, they related. But now when you've started to rise, when your life has finally begun to turn around, when you have something to smile about, they vanish. You send them the news hoping they'll be proud, hoping they'll cheer for you the way you would for them. But instead of warmth, you receive a cold, flat cool. Or worse, a change of subject. No spark in their voice, no light in their eyes. Just an emotional vacuum where joy should have lived. And you feel it not just mentally, but physically. Like a hollowness in your chest, like a weight where celebration should have been. It confuses you. It hurts in a way that's hard to explain. Because the people who were supposed to walk this path with you, the ones who said they loved you through your pain, are nowhere to be found when your light starts to shine. And that's the heartbreak, realizing that your suffering made them feel closer to you. It made you relatable, non-threatening. But now your glow becomes a mirror. Your progress becomes a reflection of everything they've avoided within themselves. You are no longer the one who needed help. Now you're the one moving forward, and your evolution quietly confronts them with their own stagnation. They can't clap for you, not because you don't deserve it, but because they feel like your rise is their fall. And so instead of cheering, they retreat. Instead of celebrating you, they detach. They'll pretend, of course. They'll still say that's great when asked. But their energy doesn't lie. Their absence doesn't lie. And the more you grow, the more their support begins to feel like a performance they're tired of pretending to believe in. Carl Jung said, "If someone cannot rejoice in your joy, they are battling an internal war." And it's true. This isn't always about malice, it's often about pain. But even pain can wound you if it's disguised as love. The tragedy is that some people only know how to connect through struggle. They've built their identity around being needed, being the strong one, or being the victim. Your healing challenges that. Your joy disrupts the dynamic. It forces them to either grow with you or quietly resent the parts of you they once claimed to love. And in that moment, you realize they didn't love you fully. They loved the version of you that made them feel safe, relevant, or superior. The version of you that didn't threaten their ego. But now you've changed. You've evolved. And your transformation requires a new level of relationship, one built not on dependency, but on mutual respect and celebration. If someone consistently downplays your wins, avoids your good news, or disappears during your highs, they are silently telling you something: they were never truly happy for you. They were just comfortable when you were behind them. And that is not love. That is proximity disguised as partnership. Emotional absence disguised as loyalty. And once you see it clearly, you can't unsee it. So stop shrinking your joy to protect their insecurity. Stop apologizing for your growth. Stop searching for validation in places that only ever applauded your pain. Because the people who are meant for you will dance in your victories, not disappear from them. They will not just survive your shine, they will reflect it. And if someone fades away when you rise, let them. Don't chase people who are only loyal to your low points. You're allowed to outgrow those who secretly hope you never rise. Because your success isn't selfish. Your growth isn't betrayal. It's a necessary act of becoming. And anyone who truly loves you will never ask you to dim your light so they can feel better sitting in the dark. Words can lie. Smiles can be faked. Compliments can be rehearsed to sound sweet even when the heart behind them has gone cold. But the body always tells the truth. It whispers what the mouth refuses to say. And if you've ever been around someone who smiled at you, said all the right things, told you they were happy for you, and yet something in your stomach twisted, you're not crazy, you're not insecure, you're not imagining it. You were reading the truth their body was leaking while their words tried to cover it up. Because when someone secretly resents you, when they envy you, when they feel threatened by your success, or light their nervous system betrays them, no matter how trained they are in social masks, their physiology speaks. Their jaw clenches. Their shoulders lift slightly in tension. They blink faster than usual. Their breath becomes shallow. Their body turns slightly away from yours even if they're smiling. Their clap comes a second too late. Their hug feels empty. Their voice lacks the warmth that sincerity always carries. And what's terrifying is that most people have been conditioned to ignore this ancient intuitive signal. Society tells us to prioritize politeness over perception. We're taught to believe words more than energy. But your body remembers a time when language didn't exist, when survival depended not on what people said, but on what they radiated. That wisdom is still inside you. It's the flutter in your gut, the sudden coldness in the room, the shift in your chest when someone's smile feels more like a mask than a mirror. Carl Jung wrote that the unconscious always speaks through the body. And this is what he meant. The unconscious mind, no matter how deeply it tries to suppress or deny envy, insecurity, or hostility, will express itself through posture, tone, silence, and distance. The body becomes the battlefield where the truth slips through the cracks of performance. You felt it before, you just didn't know what to call it. Maybe it was at your graduation when someone hugged you, but you noticed their arms didn't tighten, their voice lacked pride. Or at work when you got the promotion and a colleague smiled but their eyes dimmed instead of lighting up. Or maybe it was during a celebration when you looked around and realized the person you thought would cheer the loudest barely even looked at you. Their mouth said congratulations, but their energy said, I wish that were me. And the more aware you become, the more you'll start noticing the glitches in the emotional matrix, the way people's bodies react seconds before their minds can control it. Because hate in disguise is never invisible, it's just subtle, and your intuition was built to detect it. The problem is, we've all been gaslit into ignoring what we feel. We tell ourselves, don't be sensitive, or they didn't mean anything by it. But your body is a tuning fork. It senses what your brain hasn't processed yet. And when there's a dissonance between someone's words and their energy, your body is the first to know. You might feel tired around them, heavy, confused, like you're shrinking in your own skin. That's not random. That's your system picking up on emotional danger. Because your nervous system doesn't speak English. It speaks vibration. It listens not for logic, but for truth. And when someone's truth is resentment, no matter how well they try to hide it, your soul will know. So trust that. Stop needing verbal confirmation to believe what your body already told you. If someone says all the right things but feels cold, trust the feeling. If they smile but seem distant, trust the distance. If they applaud but your spirit hears hesitation instead of celebration, that's not paranoia, it's perception. In a world where masks are easy to wear, the body remains the one place people can't fully fake. And if you want to protect your peace, you must learn to read silence as loudly as words. Because some of the deepest betrayals won't be shouted, they'll be whispered through body language, through energy, through that strange sense of unease that lingers long after the conversation ends. Life lesson: protect your peace, even from smiling faces. In a world that rewards performance over presence, it's easy to confuse a smile for sincerity, a compliment for connection, and concern for care. But the truth is, not everyone who stands beside you wants to see you rise. Some people cheer for you because silence would reveal too much. Some support you only as long as you stay small. And some love you, but only the version of you that doesn't threaten their comfort. The lesson here isn't to become paranoid, it's to become aware. To stop dismissing the subtle discomfort that lives in your body, that tightening in your chest, that sinking in your gut. Those are not flaws in your thinking, they are signals from a deeper wisdom. Your intuition is not a weakness, it's a survival tool. Learn to trust it, and more than anything, stop explaining yourself to people who don't see you clearly. Stop shrinking your voice to fit someone else's fear. Stop looking for loyalty in people who only showed up for your pain, but disappear for your growth. Your peace is not a gift to hand out blindly. It's a sacred space to guard with everything you have. Because once you realize how much energy you've wasted trying to win over those who quietly rooted against you, you'll finally understand protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's self-respect. And in this life, self-respect is the foundation for everything real.